Right, as you can see. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Good morning, and we're starting with the LDC.
Actually, we're going to start with
We're
CDC.
gonna start with
So you got a little
CDC.
time.
Give you time to catch your breath.
Thank you.
We're
starting with
Okay.
CDC, not IDA? Okay,
Yes.
CDC.
So good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is the, we have our last meeting of the year for the City of Glens Falls public authorities. And we're going to start today with the Glens Falls Civic Development Corporation. And so I'm going to call that meeting to order. It's December 14th. We do have a quorum, but I do want to notice that we have a few board members who are not here. Mayor Collins, Mary Gooden, and Tim Larson are not able to join us today. But I am joined, Judy Calogero, with Denise Conklin, Dr. John Cordes, and Jane Reed. And so that is our quorum. We also have our staff and key advisors and consultants here as well. And the only missing person is our CFO, Mark Toomey. And so Jeff will be talking and presenting for Mark today. So thank you. We'll do Civic Development Corp. Administrative reports next. The minutes, everyone has a copy of the minutes from the October 12th, 2023 meeting. Are there any comments or changes or questions about those minutes? There being none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved, minutes are approved, and will get posted up on our board. The financial reports, this is for 11 months of the year ending November 30, 2023. Anything special to report there?
Yeah, actually, the impetus for this meeting, as you know, the CDC has to borrow money from the IDA in order to fund the audit each year. So there's a process for repayment at the end of the year to balance the books for both entities. The CDC then will be, let's see, there are no changes. This is according to the CFO. Only item will be to deposit a city check that was approved at the last city council meeting for $7,500 and write a check for the same amount to the IDA in order to eliminate the debt.
Okay. So the City of Glens Falls has already approved payment and has written a check to us, and we're going to accept that check today.
Correct.
And then, okay. So I am going to propose a motion, two-part motion to accept the check from the City of Glens Falls payment, and thank you to the city for that, and then authorize payment in return to the IDA as reimbursement for the cost of the audit for 2023. Is there someone to accept that, my motion?
So you're making the motion, so you need a second.
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 Yes. Second.
Gotcha.
You got that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays, any abstentions? There being none, motion is carried, and that payment will be made. Any other business to come before CDC? None at that time?
Do you want to approve the financial reports ending?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the financial report, there's no change in that. It's ending November 30, 2023. Is there a motion
So moved.
to approve the financial report
Second.
as presented? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays, any abstentions? There being none, the financial report is approved. There's no other business. There's no executive session. I don't believe that we will meet again until annual meeting unless something comes before us. So CDC most likely will not meet until March 2024. That being said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is adjourned. And so now, I think we'll do the IDA.
Yeah, makes sense.
Get it up on my screen. Okay, here we go. So, it's December 14th, our last meeting of the year, and we do have a quorum. And similar to the Civic Development Corporation, we have a few board members that are not able to join us today, but we are joined by myself, Denise Conklin, Dr. John Cordes, and Jane Reed. Our staff are here, and consultants are present with us, except for our CFO, Mark Toomey, and so Jeff Flagg will speak on his behalf as needed. I just want to, as chair, report, and I don't have anything major, but I do want to thank our staff and our consultants and all of our board members for all that you've done to help get us through 2023. I think it's been a relatively normal year for us. We've been able to meet in person, and but it's been relatively smooth. But thank you for all of that, and just want to also hope you enjoy whatever holiday break that you're going to get at the end of this month here, and we look forward to 2024. So thank you for that, and let me go right to Jeff and see if you have anything that you want to report on before we do administrative reports.
Not a whole lot, just a quick thing, and I'll talk a little bit more when I get to project reports about what's going on in South Street, but you know, this has been a pretty quiet year, as you know, probably for the most part because of interest rates. I don't know if anybody heard yesterday, you know, the Fed held rates steady and sort of intimated at least that there would be as many as 3 rate cuts. I don't know if that's an election year decision.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Convenient anyway.
Right.
But either way, they would be welcome. You know, we've had over the course of the year a number of individuals, developers and things talk about different buildings. They were looking for some IDA support, but in most cases they needed additional support beyond anything that the IDA could provide. Just because, and then the sort of relentless, for a while, rise in interest rates meant that every time they came back to, their situation sounded worse as far as their financials. So hopefully, you know, we have several folks in line who may be seeking support if they can get to that threshold of looking to sort of pull the plug, or pull the trigger, I should say, on projects. So I'm hoping that we'll have some opportunities to help next year.
And I just want to add to that. I think that, yes, it's been a relatively quiet year for us, and I agree with you on the interest rates to get private debt significant. But the work that we've done in the past, if you just even walk through downtown and see all the good that's been going on in even just the last couple of weeks, it's a lot of that wouldn't be going on if it weren't for the work of this board. So you see some significant change in downtown.
Absolutely. And if you look at the number of projects, we're ranging from, you know, Park and Elm to the Queensbury expansion to you know, Peter Hoffman's several projects, you know, many of which have been, you know, supported by the IDA, and you see the benefit of such an organization in the community.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, and again, thank you for a good year. We've got administrative reports, our minutes from the November 9th meeting. Everyone's got a copy of those. Any questions or changes? There being none, is there a motion to accept the November 9th meeting minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. So the financial report is for 11 months of this year ending November 30. Any changes or anything that you want to add to that? Jeff?
No, well, it doesn't look like it. He's got a schedule, a number of bills. I'm referring to Mark Toomey, who sent an email in his absence. So I don't know if that goes under the payment of bills or under the...
We only have 2 bills on our agenda,
Right,
so.
there's only, he lists one Fitzgerald bill at $256, 40% of his October hours at $386.10. Also, as just referenced in the CDC meeting, there is a $7,500 deposit from the CDC that will eliminate the due amount and balance the votes of both entities.
Okay, those amounts don't agree with our agenda.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's why he texted you, obviously, so there is a change.
I got you.
So,
Yeah, that's what he has.
in terms of our voting, I don't think we need to vote to accept a payment, but let it be noted for the record that we're receiving payment from the CDC of $7,500, and that check will be deposited, probably later this week.
Right.
Or,
Oh, I'm sorry, let me just clarify something, maybe I'm wrong here. He has one Fitzgerald bill at 256, 40% of his October hours at 386.10. Then he has one Schedule A item, which is 40% of his November hours at 207.90, which is what I see there. But he doesn't have the Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth bill on the Schedule A of $352.
So usually that first bid is report from
From
the
last
previous
month.
month, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So if you look at
Wait, was it what was it last, 256
it was,
for Fitzgerald? Yeah, because that's in the
That's-
resolution for.
We did that already.
We did that in.
okay, so that's just the financial
That's
statement
just an
from
update, yeah.
October.
What's
November,
happened?
he only lists one item, but it looks like there
Were
are,
two.
those are two.
We certainly want to pay
And is
Fitzgerald
that-
Morris
Can
Baker
we
for.
verify, can we verify?
Well,
the-
in the minutes from last month, there was a motion to pay Mark 386.10 and Fitzgerald Morris 256.
Correct.
Okay.
So
The-
they're-
the
So that's
question
his
is-
report, is
Yeah.
that
Those
he
were
did
the
it.
two
He did it,
transactions.
right, okay.
And so
And then-
this month, I would say it's these two.
And then, yes, and then if you can verify, I assume that the
We're gonna just
352 is correct.
pay the Schedule
Then we
A.
could have the payment of bills, there's two items, for 40% of Mark's November services of 207.90, and a Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth bill of 352 for
Perfect.
November.
Yep.
okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and call for the approval of those payments, and then, as I do the signing, I'll, confirm that, with Mark before,
Yeah.
but I think that that's accurate. Okay. All right.
So we're gonna approve
So
the
let's-
financial report?
So let's do the approval first of the financial report is presented for November 30, 2023.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Report is approved and shall get posted up to our website along with our meeting minutes. So our Schedule A for this month, payment of bills for this month is two bills totaling $559.90. You'll see Schedule A here. And so let's approve that. I'll call motion to accept payment of payment to Mark Toomey and Fitzgerald Morris Baker for a total of $559.90. Is there a second? Second?
I'll
All
second.
in favor?
Aye.
Any nays, any abstentions? There being none, motion is approved. The bills shall be paid, and we'll just confirm with Mark Toomey when he's back to work that before we sign those checks. Okay. Project reports and any resolutions, I think it's mostly project updates.
Yeah, not a great deal other than the fact that we are moving forward, right? The Market Center is continuing to move forward. We have all the contracts signed, and by that I mean the construction, all the subcontractors. We were a little behind with the mechanical and the fire prevention contracts, since we hadn't gotten any bidders. But those didn't hold up the project since they're later on in the construction process anyway. So we're still on schedule. The sort of tangentially related to this, I guess, but as far as the IDA and the support for Market Square, we did meet with the mayor, and Pat and I met with some representatives from the Glens Farmers Market, had a very productive meeting with them, sort of trying to help us work through some of the logistics, some of the questions that are still, we're sort of trying to work through. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the cadence of project, what we would call phase two, and the availability of the pavilion through the next summer, which I don't think is gonna be a problem at all. And then how we're gonna move forward with the timing with the Market Center opening, which will very likely be late fall, probably, well, fall, we'll say, of next year. So how we sort of time those things and coordinate those logistics. We're also meeting with some of the folks from Venaccio on Monday to go through a few of the questions that we're still sort of trying to work through in anticipation of hopefully their reception of the HCR award early next year. One of the issues we have, and we could talk a little bit more about this when we get to the LDC, is there's some work that needs to be done on the LDC's buildings, particularly in 36 Elm, and we're trying to see if there's a way we could sort of coordinate that with them as well.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Jeff on any of that? And you said that you've got some folks that have come in, and I don't know that we need to talk about that, but you do have some property owners that have been coming in and looking possibly for some services going forward.
Yeah,
Funding.
Sort of a sidebar to that, Pat and I met, as you may know, the city received a Brownfield Opportunity Area grant for the Warren Street corridor, really, which is all of the first ward essentially.
It's from Dix Avenue all the way south to the river.
Right, and so, that creates some opportunities as we go forward with the nomination process, what I think they call phase 2 now, or step 2.
It's the second of 3
Right.
steps right now.
To sort of identify specific properties, and as you probably all know, there's in the city probably more in the first ward than anywhere else. We're also going to sort of look to identifying properties in the now designated South Broad Street BOA in possible anticipation of CFA applications to look at some specific properties that might need some assistance, repurposing, planning, assessment, and so forth. So hopefully we'll have some more specific directions in the South Broad corridor, and we'll look for identification of potential properties in the Warren Street corridor.
And
Just
so
for the
that's
record.
now a brownfield designated area?
Yes,
So projects in that area will now be eligible for the brownfield tax credit.
correct.
I would encourage you, and I can send you some information on it, but to review that so that you're aware of what those benefits are, and so that you can make referrals to developers of how to pursue them,
Right,
because
yeah.
it's somewhat complicated. I've done several projects, and the tax credit is very beneficial and can help projects go forward in a significant way.
Yeah.
We're certainly always happy to get more information. We've gotten some from the state on some of those things, but if you've got something that you think would be very helpful, I'm sure we'd be happy
They're
to take it.
explaining to you how it works in those details?
It sort of, yeah, I mean, it's a high level, it was a high level explanation, right? So, that Leslie's lot has sent.
The process itself, I mean, what seems clear is that there are, as you said, there are unique benefits that accrue to potential properties inside the BOA. And one of the most valuable criteria of that is that there's benefits that only can come to you if you're in a BOA. And there's only 29? 29 in the entire state.
Including our new, right.
When I've talked to people, unrelated people at the state level, when we tell them we have potentially 2, they say, you have 2 BOAs in your little city of 4 square miles. So a lot of the city is sort of eligible for these fairly exclusive benefits.
So understanding the benefit of that credit and who investors are, and so I'd encourage you to learn who investors are,
Right.
who will invest in upstate New York for BOAs. And if you could look at some projects that have already been completed that benefited from BOAs, you'd be able to better understand
Right.
how those funds come into the project and how they work.
Yeah, it seems like there are both investors and developers who really target these kinds of opportunities
yeah.
and know how to
Yep.
take advantage of them.
So, okay.
Thanks.
If you want some help, give me a call.
Thanks.
Okay, any other business? There being none, there's no need for an executive session. Our next meeting will be January 11th, and I think we're still meeting here. Thank you, Kara. The meeting is, I call for the meeting to be adjourned. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. And I think I'm turning it, well, LDC. Denise, your turn.
Good morning.
I get to shut up.
I
Thank
am
you.
Denise Conklin, opening the meeting of the Greater Glens Falls Local Development Corporation. We do have a quorum with myself, Judy Calgaro, Dr. John Cordes, and Jane Reed present. Our staff and key advisors are here, minus our CFO, Mark Toomey. You should have received the minutes from our meeting held on November 9th. Are there any corrections or changes to those minutes? If none, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion carried, thank you. The financial report for the 11 months ending November 30th, 2023, you should have also received.
Right, and so the changes there were Fitzgerald bill, 368, the monthly insurance of 1275, and 60% of the payroll, the October payroll for 579. So those are the only changes in the financial report for November.
Which were approved in October.
Which were approved in October,
Right,
right.
right. Yeah, it's a very weird way of reporting,
I know,
is all I have
this
to
is,
say.
this is Mark's report,
I
this is how he
understand.
does it, so.
I understand.
So yeah, so we
Right.
don't have any other updates other than that.
Right.
With that information, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Form 990, as a nonprofit, we must file a Form 990 by 11/15. This was filed on time as required. And the Form 990 is the return of organization exempt from income tax.
Correct. So there was no changes from the audit, right? It's all the same numbers in the audit. The Bonadio Group, you'll see in the Schedule A, the Bonadio Group did that for us. Mark is looking into his ability to be able to do that next
I
year.
was just gonna say.
Yeah, so that way you'll see that the Bonadio Group charged $1,500 for that.
Right.
So-
Our Head Start auditor includes the 990 as
Right,
part of
and
his
so
bid.
that was
Yeah.
certainly was a point of contention, a point of discussion with them. So I determined that we needed to do that because we needed to get the form filed.
Sure we
So
did, right.
It's all done, that's set, there's nothing that I can do to change that at this point.
Right.
But next year, we expect that either they will do it or Mark will do it.
Have we put this back out to bid?
No, we have not.
Are we going to?
We are discussing what the best steps are, yes.
Yeah, we've discussed with a couple of auditors potential alternatives. And we're waiting to hear back whether one in particular is willing to
Even entertain it. yeah.
entertain a bid.
Okay.
It's hard to find auditors,
So,
as you know.
Yeah.
Other than the one we have.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, so the form was filed, Bonadio Group assisted, everything is all set, as I said, there's a copy in your packets. I did not send it out to you earlier than the packets went out, and I apologize for that, that's my fault for not getting it out. But the board needs to vote to approve the report.
Well, you've got to post it on the website.
All right, I think that's done, but if it's not done, it'll be done as soon as you approve it, right?
Okay, I move to approve the 990 whose numbers match the audit that we approved when we had the audit. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. Schedule A, payment of bills.
So that Mark reports, and once again, it seems as though he's forgotten the Fitzgerald Morse Baker Firth bill. I'm not sure why he did that, but basically the Schedule A includes $1,331 for the insurance installment, $311.85 for the 60% share of his services for November, $240 for Fitzgerald Morse Baker Firth, $1,500 for the Bonadio and Company to complete the 990. And $400 for services from CT Mail.
Yep,
And that's that's on the Schedule A.
right.
Do we have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the disbursement of grant funds. I believe Pat can provide more information on this, a small business support grant for Country Meadows Academy.
Yeah, so this is a really great program. This is a really great business. The owner of the Country Meadows restaurant and the dirt bike track on 149
Tracks, yeah.
in Fort Anne has invested a significant amount of money into a child care center that was closed when COVID happened. The business called It's a Kid's World closed, and that service that took care of between 50 and 70 kids was no longer available. So he invested in the building, bought the building, invested in the business, or created the business, and has hired, I believe it's 6, it might be 8 teachers, instructors to deal with these kids. The state requires them to redo their outside playgrounds to ensure that it meets all of the regulations, right? So there's got to be shade, there's got to be safer.
Squish.
Right.
Gotta have squish.
Right. Yes. There's got to be squish. Right. So the grant really is to them to support. I think it's 80% of the cost of their initial cost of their investment in updating that playground. The council, the city council, common council, has already approved $8,400 that the block grant is giving to them as part of this much larger kind of project. They're investing $36,000, something like that, Jim, into the.
What's his name had that childcare?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
kid's world. Yeah.
It was the one story, yeah, thank you, that's how many.
Yeah, right on South Street
So,
there.
so it's on the hospital side of South
Oh,
Street.
okay, all right.
It's a long, low one-story building right near School Street.
Yeah.
Right near
Right
where.
across
Oh, okay.
the right
Yeah.
end there.
So it's
nestled in.
fronted, right, yeah, it's fronted on South, and the playground is on School.
Yeah,
So, so the grant amount is $19,940.35. That's very specific. And it's because the grant award was a specific amount and the CDBG money that we gave them was a little bit more than we actually anticipated it was gonna be. It was another $64.70, right? So, so that's what we're proposing. We've been through their paperwork, to underwrite the loan, to initially underwrite the loan, and we're in the process of working through getting the job creation documentation and that kind of thing in order to be able to give them this. This money is going to be provided when they provide us with the all the receipts, which they're in the process of collecting. So what I didn't want to do is to wait until the January or February meeting to be able to give them the money when they give us the receipts. So the resolution says that we can disperse it when we receive receipts that are approvable, right? And in as many as 2 different tranches. One, so that they can kind of get the initial group in, and then the rest of it when the project is finished.
Do they have a prospective data operation?
They're open.
They're open now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They're open with, as I said, with 6
They're-
6 or 7 teachers. Well, when he came in a week or so ago, he said that the teachers had to show you kind of anything you ever want to know about Glens Falls. The teachers had taken the one of the classes, to the Flower Child Bakery, which, as you may remember, took over for I forget what the name of Amy's Cookies. Which we also supported, which the LDC also supported with the grant in order to get going, but took the kids there to make Christmas cookies as part of a program. So, Judy, when you talk about all of the benefits and all the growth and everything that's happened in the city, that's another perfect example
Right,
of
they could walk there.
those, exactly,
Yeah.
those small businesses being
Awesome.
able to work together, so.
Can they rename themselves City Meadows?
Is that a country?
Could be city streets? or
Right,
lanes,
city pavement,
lanes.
right, sorry, just,
I'm not sure I can ask him
right,
that,
right.
Have they managed other daycare facilities in other
The
places?
people who are
or-
running it did. And I don't know the exact structure, but I'm gonna call her the business manager, right? The person who's actually running the organization
Has some
has run
experience.
them before, right? And the
Because we
teachers
have
that they're
lost a
getting
few,
are
and
from.
I'm just like, okay, we,
Yeah. Well, it's, yeah, COVID pretty much ended that business.
Yeah.
Right,
Really
exactly.
acute need for help for
Yeah.
childcare.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
so that's great.
okay. So they're up and running, but the exterior work for the playground
Has not been done
has not
yet.
been done.
Correct.
And probably won't be done until weather improves.
they're anticipating, he's ordered all of it, all of the equipment already. It is coming in
But
in
landscaping
bits
is
and
not
pieces.
gonna
But
get
they're,
done
right, they're not
until
gonna be able to do
March.
the installation until, well, he's thinking probably the end of April
Yeah.
Right,
April.
so,
Okay.
yeah,
'Cause,
so,
yeah, we're
because
delayed.
he's hoping the beginning of April, he can get somebody in to actually do the installation and then finish it by the end of April. But again, it all depends on, you know,
Yeah, weather.
So what we're doing is we're approving the award, but we're not approving the payment of the bill because you don't have a bill yet.
we don't have bills, correct.
So
And
you're
the-
gonna come back to us when there's a
Well,
bill to
I'm,
be paid.
in the
Wants
interest of,
authorization to cut the check should the receipts, because they've
Correct.
already ordered the equipment and they're gonna have to pay for it
Well,
before anyone will talk about
right,
delivery.
exactly, and this is on the, in reaction to the request from the board for one other grant, I don't remember what it was, to not have to keep coming back to
Right.
approve the checks, right?
Right.
That we approve the grant and the payment, and then when.
And then when the
Right, when the receipts
opportunity
are all.
comes,
Right,
we-
we can just write the check. I mean,
Yep.
the check will still obviously have to be signed.
Right.
I disagree with that. It's not on, I think we could approve it, but I think you've gotta come back to us for the approval of the check. Because it's not on the list of payments. And so your Schedule A needs to correspond with.
Understood.
So the
Understood.
person who's signing the checks.
So I'll put it on the Schedule A
Being
for
you.
the January meeting.
So
is
when-
cover.
No,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I'll put it on the Schedule A for the.
For when it's
For the
time.
January meeting. Yeah,
When,
yeah, yeah.
when you're gonna write the check, when you're gonna be
Right, but
writing
we
it.
can
Don't,
appro- we're-
don't have it sitting there in your checkbook. Do it when.
But we can tell them that they've got the award so that
You've
they can
got
make
the
the
award.
order.
Make
That's
the
it.
order.
Right.
Yeah.
But we haven't approved the payment of the check yet. Okay?
Right,
Two
because
seconds.
it may be,
So I'm-
it may be
we'll-
in
So
two
we'll
separate-
have to, I understand, we'll have to discuss that maybe offline, because I thought that was, that seems to me that that's different than what we talked about, but maybe I'm confused.
No, you and I have talked about it before, but I've tried to say to you that Schedule A needs to correspond with what checks are being signed.
Understood.
So-
So I will do that next meeting, sure.
If you were writing a check today, then you
Which we're
would have,
not.
which you're not.
Right.
You would have had it on the Schedule A.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So,
Seems reasonable.
Yep.
I will, make the motion to accept the resolution as presented with the understanding that, when we're ready to issue the check, that it will come back before the board for approval of the check.
Second-ish.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. I'm glad to see a daycare is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the need is desperate.
yes.
So project reports and resolutions, Kara, Jeff, updates about the contingency extension?
You got signed.
Yep, that was
Yep.
signed. And we're just waiting for like Jeff mentioned, we have a meeting on Monday with them to discuss moving forward at this time, and we'll go from there and wait for the award announcement.
2024.
Is there any other business to come before the board? Being none, our next meeting is January 11th. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're actually now moving on
What do you think is it?
Urban renewal.
to urban renewal.
Anyway, isn't it?
Who's
Yes.
running urban
I'm running
renewal?
urban
It's
renewal,
not like that depends
which,
on how
which
money
means
to buy
that
stuff. Just forget.
ditto,
Kindly remember.
ditto on who is here, and we thank you all. And,
I'm not here.
you are indeed here. We know you're here. We have photo of you. Yeah. And we had our last meeting on October 12th, and there are lovely minutes to that effect. So unless there are any additions, changes, or corrections that are required, which I open the floor to, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
So moved.
Can I get a, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Financial report. We're, in the absence of Mr. Toomey, we're going to have who report?
That's me.
Thank you.
So there's no changes in the financial report since September, since the report in September. And that's all I have to say.
Oh, see, this is great. Can I get a motion to accept the financial report?
So moved.
Can I get a
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of bills. We do need to pay the bills. As
Correct.
always, there
There are two bills which surprisingly enough are actually on are on Mark's email.
right,
Both of which are Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth bills, and I know that they're in here somewhere, but I don't.
they're on like the 5th page.
Schedule A.
Yeah, no, I just couldn't find it in my packet, that's all, but anyway. So there are two bills, two Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth bills, one for $272, one for $128, which total $400 even.
Could just note that although it says total IDA, I'm assuming we don't have to pay it to the IDA for the IDA to disperse. We're dispersing it under our own authority, right? So I just note that that should be total URA, not total IDA.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure there wasn't a path. Right, well, I mean, we run CDC through LDC IDA, so I was just, okay. All right, so we're under our own air, we are gonna pay Kara.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Could I get a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then we don't need to do anything more on the budget. If there are no other reports, there's no other business, and there's certainly no need for an executive session. So therefore, we're supposed to meet in January, although I'm not sure why, because we
Well, because it's scheduled as the same time as the others, whether we need it or not. So in other
Right.
words, same with CDC, right? The CDC
Right,
is.
so
if
I'm
we-
just saying, look at this meeting and whether or not it was worth the 3 seconds that we all took to it, and we'll decide if
Fitzgerald
January
Morris
should.
Baker Firth, I'm sure, is very happy that we had
Right,
that meeting.
exactly, exactly. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Could I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here.
We're out of
Kind of.
Look at that.
Well done, Pat.